Hot damn. I am Billy Mills Curran, and I am here on Hardcast. I have searched my library. Rather, no, I played one colorless and one blue. I had priority. I've searched my library, and I have found three cards with flashback. And those three cards with flashback are Javier Lugo. Say hello, Javier.
Greetings, everybody.
I have also searched my library, and I found Ian Adams. Say hello, Ian.
What's up, everyone?
And my third card that I have found with flashback is none other than Brian Selden. Hello, Brian. Say hello.
Hey, Billy. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so welcome to Hardcast. We're going full chaotic mode. We have four people on an internet connection somewhere on some compromised internet line. And we got all sorts of play. We got shit audio, but we are here to party. And we're going to talk about the new hotness in pre-modern, the card that everybody's talking about, Quiet Speculation. He invented a new deck, and it's great. It's great. Everybody's up to it. We have the past with Javier doing absolutely phenomenally in LobsterCon, the past LobsterCon on Tireless Tribe. We have Ian forging the future, and then we have Brian teaching us all how to play. So this is a very interesting episode because I'm going to ask these players to speculate on some things, but not quietly, loudly, and maybe even wildly. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. So the first thing I would like y'all to speculate on is, what is Brad doing that's so important that he didn't want to record tonight? Ian, go ahead.
I think, well, I know what Brad is actually doing, but yeah, I think he cast a Cataclysm and just selected his permanents improperly. He didn't have enough permanents left to attend.
Javier, what is Brad doing that's so important that he didn't want to record tonight?
So, if you look at the art of Quiet Speculation, which I did prior to this podcast, you noticed the cephalid, right? Probably in the cephalid Coliseum, he's sitting on a mat, and he is at peace. And he is speculating, thinking about the past, thinking about the future. So that's what Brad's doing. He's actually speculating right now more than any of us. That's my guess.
Brian, what is Brad up to right now?
I think he's scouring the internet to foil out his next deck.
He does have good-looking cards.
Looking at all the, he does. Sick deals, all the Facebook groups. He's scouring top to bottom. Didn't have time for us. He needs to foil out his deck.
Did you know that Brad is an online card dealer? He's got like a TCG shop and all that stuff.
No?
Yeah.
Isaac actually bought a foil Terravore from him accidentally. Didn't even know it was him until after the fact.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So, wait, you did?
No, one of my teammates, Isaac, did.
Okay. Word. So, yeah, we're here to talk about Quiet Spec. I think I want to do this in kind of chronological order. I'm going to start with, so we did have an episode featuring Travis Schneider of Atlanta, what are they called? The Tribe Tribe. And Javi, you did really well this year in LobsterCon 2024. And you played 4 Quiet Speculation and a whole bunch of flashback souls. And you did really well. Can you just briefly, I'm not looking for a tournament report, but just what's up with this deck?
So props to Travis, Gabe, shared discovery. Travis was the one that turned me onto Tribe basically in November of 23. And one of the things that I noticed was that it's a beatdown deck, it's a tempo deck that uses Quiet Speculation to grind and to give you, some silver bullets. And what I noticed in all the variations was that oftentimes only 3 were played. And I noticed huge differences in games where I cast it and games where I don't. And basically, if I end up casting it, resolving it, I likely end up winning, or maybe it's close. If I don't, I feel like the games were much closer. And so I thought, I don't know, let's just add a 4th one. And then on top of that, I added 2 Call of the Herds to make it an 8 main deck flashback. 8 flashbacks in the main deck, 2 Deep Analysis, 2 Ray, 2 Roar, Volcanic Spray, and 2 Call of the Herds. And as I say that, I think that's actually not. And so all day, the quiet specs were huge. They were monumental, and I certainly could feel that effect going up from 3 to 4.
I saw you doing really well, and you were in some team fit. You and the whole gang. What was your team? What was your fit? Like, what's up?
Yeah, so it's Jose Magic, me, Robert Wyatt, Will Reddy, Ryan Grodzinski, and Stephen Hines. We all grew up in Orlando together, basically grinding JSS, like 98, 99, 2000. And the owner of the store that we all played, he is Jose Sintra, and he passed away. And so when we all reunited at LobsterCon 22, we just went with Jose Magic, right? He'd be proud of us, still after all these years jamming. So that was Robert Wyatt, and he was on the light blue Jose Magic shirt. And what a joy to be able to play against him, in a feature match, because I used to bike to his house, right, like in 8th grade, and we would just draft Prophecy and whatnot. And he's an amazing player. He was on Squirrel Opposition, another deck of his from back in the day. Actually, former Vermont state champion. Robert Wyatt. So it was cool to Magic with him. Certainly a cool moment.
That's cool. And you did really well. Let me think. At one point, Rodney of TOA Magic says, "Hey, do you know this guy?" And he handed me something, and it was an oversized Magic card. And I was like, I know that guy, and I know he's cool. I don't know him that well. I'm pretty sure he knows who I am, but I'm assisting in TOing for this event, so I'm pretty sure he'll be cool with me holding his cards. What was that oversized card? What was up with that?
It was a Sarah Angel with Rebecca Gay art.
Yeah.
And I bought it early on the day, maybe when I was 1-1. I mean, I lost my first match of the day, 0-1, against Mono Blue Dreadnought, and at that moment I was like, okay, it'll be whatever, a chill day. So I think I bought it round 2 or 3, and then next thing I know, I rattled off, several wins straight. And at that point, your mind is just, it's gone. And so when you approached me to give me the card, hey Javi, I have this. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I bought that. That's why.
Yeah.
So thank you for holding that, and I have it. It's sitting around in a good spot.
Do Ian and Brian, do either of you guys collect any fun things like oversized Magic cards, anything like that?
Not any oversized Magic cards, but I actually collect FBB Spanish cards, which are only 4th edition, kind of a weird one. But my Terror decks all have un poco.
Un poco. How about you, Brian? I feel like you probably have some sort of fun. I don't even I mean, there was the Pro Tour Honolulu flip flops or something like that. Do you have anything like that? Any?
No.
I don't know. Fun ephemera? You're over it? You're just over it?
So my journey to pre-modern came through selling all my pre-modern cards to get into old school, and then progressively selling old school to get back into pre-modern. I mean, between that and I've actually found World Championship playmats in my basement, which I found someone that wanted to spend literally $1,500 a piece to buy World Championship playmats. And not even to play Magic, it was to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all things.
Okay.
So that funded my re-entry into pre-modern. But if I do anything in pre-modern, it's mostly to get decks and try to get a whole battle box of decks that often I don't even use. And we buy the sideboard cards that for a deck that you don't even play, and for the dream of needing it one day. But I mean, at this point, they're almost investments. Pre-modern cards. It seems like the popularity, the format's spiking, and there's naturally Onslaught naturalizes are going through the roof right now, and Call the Herds are $20 or something. It's a wild what's happening.
Yeah, all the old border stuff, and then the gold borders, a gold border Llanowar waste is $22 or something, when Apocalypse is 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of gold bordered survivals.
Yeah.
And I started just giving them away.
Yeah.
LobsterCon, I gave them away. I went to Argentina with my family, and I donated 4 to the prize pool for that tournament. Phil was talking somewhere. I heard him that he didn't have Phil a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
The Roxer guy.
Yep.
I just sent him 4 survivals because I had them around, and they were like whatever $5 or $10 at the time, and now they're like $50 a piece, $60 a piece. So
Yeah.
It's like,
I have a question.
like, oh, well.
Did you guys have this bit line at a time? You know, like, Quiet Speculation is the name of like the MTG like finance blog.
Well, I'm kind of leaning into it because I mean, like, I have like a whole list of like bullshit, like, oh, speculating. So Brian's leading me already into it. Okay. I guess. Hang on. Let me get through the intro. Okay. So Javi does well. He's playing Quiet Spec, but he's playing it kind of like, would you say aggro mid range? You have, let me think. You had a circular logic, so it's kind of, yeah. But you also had like, I don't know, wild mongrels. So you have counter spells. You have like a bit of control. But it was like a toolbox aggro deck. What is this deck, Javi?
It is a beatdown deck. You want to be the beatdown as soon as possible, with a spell that costs 2 mana that basically says basically you demonic tutor 3 times.
Word.
And that's Quiet Speculation. It's insane.
Yeah, and you never run out of gas, right? Like you have gas for the rest of the game.
And you never run out of gas. And the most problematic cards, you know, as a beatdown deck is Oath. And so the 2 Ray of Revelations, without even knowing that we were in an Enchantress meta, were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so it is a beatdown deck that aims to be the beatdown, and then I believe Travis Schneider mentioned this, have some of the most cost-efficient answers and interaction. 1 mana destroy target, 1 mana exile a creature and plow, 1 mana hard counter, which Circular Logic usually was. And the deck has no glaringly bad matchups. And at that time, I think I had an advantage of like a little bit of a brewer's advantage.
Yeah.
Some people still, they see a tribe, are you going to go about face? What's happening? And then 4 mana 6/6 is the real threat in pre-modern. So it's a beatdown deck that has great efficient interaction that can easily tutor up the answers you need at the right exact moment.
And notably, if you draw good cards like that Roar of the Worm, you can actually discard it in that deck, which is not a feature of some of these other decks that we'll talk about.
You flood out, right? You flood out, there's no reason to go above 4 lands, right? You just hold gas for dog, for tribe. It is so much fun. I keep going back to it. I played against Brian in the Spring Fling this year. I was on tribe. And if I have to play one deck, that's it, because I feel like it's sneaky good, while also kind of honest, and certainly a blast to play.
So Ian, I'm looking at your deck list right now, and I can see that you are. I don't know if you were drawing inspiration, but I know that you just couldn't let this stand, and that you were. You're just like, I can do one better. I can do better. Let me see here. What was it? Top 16? Is that what you did, Javi? Top 32?
Top 16.
16. Okay, so Ian apparently thinks he can do better and that you missed a few things. And he smashed Quiet Spec and some of the tutor cards into an Oath Shell. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is like kind of Terrageddon, kind of Oath Terravor, and then you put Quiet Spec in. So you got your Terravors, you got your Oaths, Mox Diamonds, Wastelands, making sure no bunch of treetops, and then you chose to go down to 3 Quiet Spec. You kept 3 Call to Herd, Oath right past it, no big deal. Deep Analysis, Ray, a single Roar, a Seize the Day, and a Volcanic Spray. So Ian, like, what's going on here? So you're the next layer of, you're getting tribal. You're the next step.
Yeah, Yeah, so unlike Javi and Brian, I typically do pretty terribly at LobsterCon, and this year especially hammered by Tribe multiple times. I was trying to run
What'd you
it
play
back
this
on
last year?
Goblins, and
Oh,
I played Goblins, and just
was it
which
red
is
black
just
from your red black
brutal.
from your win?
Yeah.
Okay, word.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like standing on the ledge, talking with teammates about like, yeah, what am I going to do next? Man, like this Tribe deck looks really fun, and I know like the Discord is named like the Tireless Tribe Discord and all. Uh, I just have a problem with Tireless Tribe as a card. It does not strike my fancy. Uh, so I was looking at like the quiet speculation package and like some interesting things that could be done with that. And at the same time, I was also looking at sort of these Oath of Druids decks as at large, both like the red green Oath Ponza shells. I didn't love those because I don't love Stone Rain generally, so I was looking for ways to kind of play something more Armageddon-y, kind of like Terrageddon. Uh, and one of the places that I found real inspiration was Landy Hoth, which has brings in this sort of combo element into the Oath package, where Oath is sort of enabling a really powerful finisher, but at the same time, all the parallax enchantments and the replenishes creates a lot of these sort of awkward slots. The mana base is very demanding. So I was looking at, like, again, just sort of these ideas floating around. And I started to pull up my notes app and throw a bunch of these things just in a list together and start cutting things out until I had something that kind of looked like 60 cards and then tweaked from there. But the main goal was to sort of really come up with this powerful, punchy, combo-esque finish for an Oath deck in Seize the Day, which is something Brad had been talking about. I don't know if you remember, Billy. I think that was the one where he accidentally cheated with a Mother of Runes or something like that.
None of it. None of it.
Red and Seizing the Day.
None of that is by accident. Brad's a rampant cheater. But yes, I was there for the scene. I was there to watch that happen. He winked at me before he did it. He said, "Watch this." Yeah. He says, "Look at these chumps."
Yeah. So. Yeah, you don't have that problem when you target just a Terravore. Like, one of the things that I noticed about the Oath decks generally is that you have this like turn or two. Either Oath is acting as like a stacks piece where it says, "Okay, opponent, don't play creatures into this, or I'm going to go above you very quickly." But usually, the way that the games were playing out, in my experience, was that you get to kind of this mid-game point, and suddenly your opponent would say, "Okay, I think I'm in a position where I can drop everything and outrace the incoming Terravore, because I have, in terms of sequencing, the first Terravore will come out. It'll be, reasonably sized, like 4, 5, 6, something like that. And then the second Terravore comes out, juices the first Terravore. You get in for an attack, but it's usually not lethal because you haven't been able to put any pressure on. But when you mill over or quiet spec out, Seize the Day into the pile, that first Terravore that's getting to attack is lethal. It usually is like a 9/9 or a 10/10 that's able to attack twice, or at least create a situation where your opponent has to block in a very unfortunate way. Or you could even Seize the Day to just untap it and have 2 blockers instead of having to take that turn off from attacking.
Seize the Day.
So it gave this, it was a little bit more of a combo deck, at least in theory. Yeah.
At least in theory. Brad cut it from his list. It's got such cool art, though. It's got this like Viking dude, big arms, big beard.
Looking at that too.
Yeah, it goes hard.
Yeah,
it looks like Richard Kane Ferguson should have been chartered or do the art for it.
Yeah, people love mid-range, especially in pre-modern. People are so hungry for something
it's so
that.
Cool.
People have this ever since The Rock was and playable Dead Guy L were deemed unplayable. People really want a deck that can play both beat down and control roles functionally well, and you can pivot in and out of sideboard plans. So I think that's where what people saw in this, and that's why Brad started leaning towards Cataclysm instead of Armageddon. I mean, I have my personal thoughts on what's effective and what's not, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But that's kind of where this originally came from, was wanting to add a pseudo combo, like really sharp turn finisher into what's otherwise more of a controlling deck.
That's kind of funny because Javi cut about face, and then you're like, no, I want that juke, and then you put in Seize the Day to achieve a similar outcome.
Yeah, Terrible asks a little less of you than Tribe does.
Yeah, about face. God bless it. Although maybe the move is to pivot, right, and throw 4 about faces now that I've declared about face to be.
Yeah. So
What if it had flashback?
Oh, that'd be so cool. All right, so Brian, you've spoken up. All right, so I've spoken to Javi in depth. I've spoken to Ian. So Brian, last time I saw you were playing Survival Terragon, aka Corned Beef Hash. My question for you is, what is wrong with my deck, and why do you think I'm such a bad deck builder?
I played that deck in the vanilla day of LobsterCon, and yeah, generally went pretty well, and I lost to any deck that cast multiple creatures against me. The elves and the goblins, you just felt like you couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
I think it's a great deck. It has bad mana, and if you're really doing the survival thing, there's probably other better places to do the survival thing. The deck is just, it's so stressed. It's so stressed. You need a high creature count for survival. You need all the other good cards to play, the Swords of Plowshares, the Armageddons. There's unless you have you're kind of stressed on Wasteland for the Terrafor to make it big. It's like it's pulled in so many directions that it makes it really hard to kind of stick the landing.
All I'm hearing is that this is a skill issue, and I think that perhaps you do not have the experience with pre-modern cards or the play history to understand all of the nuances of a survival deck. But I won't hold that against you. Okay, so I have so many questions, and none of them are organized on this piece of paper. All right, so I did that question, I did this question. Okay. Cool. So let's do some vibe checks on some flashback cards. And do any of you do any finance stuff? Is it buy or sell, or is it buy or hold, or is it buy, sell, hold? Ian, I feel like
it's short or long, right?
Short or long.
Sell is short. Long is you think it's got.
All right. So we're gonna go short or long. Short or long on. Let's see here. I have a Roar of the Worm, short or long, in the future of pre-modern. What do you guys think? Speak now.
Sell. Not into it.
I'm long on it.
Long it.
I like it.
You think there's a future for?
So just to clarify, long is good, right? Long
is good. Yeah.
Okay.
Long is good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with Ian on that. Yeah.
Okay. So Roar of the Worm. There's a future for Roar of the Worm in pre-modern. I don't really. Oh, actually, wait. I should probably say why I think I should be on this podcast. I have been quiet specking into Threshold. I have been using it to turn on Moggies and Werebears and putting it in a Terragon shell. It's not very good, but it's fun. It's very neat getting Threshold on turn, during turn 1 Goose, turn 2 Bear, turn 3 Thresh, turn 4 whatever Armageddon. So I've been playing with this. It's not very good. It's worse than all of y'all's decks, but it is an interesting card. Okay, so that's why I'm here. All right, short, long, buy, sell, hold on Reckless Charge. That's the sell, not into it.
Yeah. Do you want us to give little explanations, or just straight?
Yeah, we're speculating here.
Okay.
All right.
So I actually think just to go back to Roar of the Worm, I like Roar of the Worm. I know why Brian doesn't like it, because Brian had it caught in his hand during the last regional I watched on stream. Though I think there was an opportunity. I think to have 7 mana at one point. You could have just slammed that bad, Larry. 2 6/6s in a row. Let's go, team. Lisan Al-Gaib, Brian Selden, ready to go, marching with the worms. But No, I think Brian's right. Is that one Roar the Worm doesn't sound so bad when you know it's going to be your first quiet speculation target a lot of the time. Just immediately get that in the bin. It's a big threat to deploy relatively early. But you do need some way to discard it because it does occasionally get caught in your hand. And, I think we talked about like Cephalid Coliseum as being an option for potentially enabling that, or having something in the sideboard when you're boarding out oaths, maybe something like Javi Lugo's favorite Wild Mongrel might be, an aggro control pivot plan to enable it. But that's my feeling.
So okay. All right, so actually this is interesting that I brought up Reckless Charge because I feel like it occupies kind of the same slot as Seize the Day. Because I remember that was a conversation about the Red-Green Oath people, is that like we can cut a Terravore, so you are whatever percentage more likely to have a Reckless Charge between, numbers 1 or 2 or whatever, Terravore, so that you could Oath directly into a Reckless Charge and then combo somebody. But you chose Seize the Day.
What?
Ian. All right, Brian, what's up? You said what?
Just interrupt. If a Terravore deck is oathing, what percentage of the time are they going to lose that game? And it's probably, I don't know the number, but if you're oathing with a Terravore deck, you're in a really good spot. You're probably 70 to 80% to win that game. Like you're already winning. And if you don't need more, right? Like it turns gives you one more turn, or it's one turn faster to Reckless Charge or Terravore if it's big enough. But usually it's not big enough anyway until the second one anyway. So I think it's a win more card. I don't think you need it. I think if you draw it, it's bad, and you can have other good cards. These decks play 31 mana sources with Mox Diamonds. Having 2 of them be bad cards if you draw them I don't think you can't do it.
But Seize the Day is also a combo card, so you're not into Seize the Day, Brian?
I'm not. No. I think it's cute. There are some fun times with Reckless Charge that I've had with the monthly that I just won, but I don't think you need. I think I was going to win those games anyway.
Got it. Okay, so would you replace it with just something else, or is there like how about this? What do y'all think is like the flashback card that you think is like underplayed? Like everybody should be playing like copy number 4 when everybody else is on 3, or like everybody's sleeping on Acorn Harvest and it's the tech you're saving for LobsterCon, like or like Triple Therapy. I don't know.
So shout out. I believe the name is David Cross. I think out of Portland, but he's been doing wall spec. Right, so basically, Sunscape Familiar makes it so quiet speculation is just blue, and then he just has all of these cost, reduced like powerful spells. Anyways, one of the fun things he likes to do is basically, tribal spec, throw a therapy in the yard, get Academy Rector, and then sack Rector to therapy, and then get Decree of Silence, which is what is that? It's like counter the next 3 spells that your opponent plays.
Yeah.
And so he has this beautiful deck build. I think I saw a video of him playing it on heavy play. But I thought it was phenomenal. That was just something that I thought about, right? So how to leverage the therapy with Quiet Spec. Academy Rector makes sense. Maybe there's some other enchantments in there that'll make it worth it. But yeah, shout out to David Cross for that.
Well, have you ever intuitioned for 3 therapies? Quiet Spec versus Intuition's another interesting conversation, because for 1 more mana you get one of the cards for free. Doesn't quite work, they'll just give you the Roar, so you have to kind of go for a different suite of cards, but those 2 cards are always kind of competing in similar spaces.
The conversation with Intuition versus Quiet Spec, there's heavy debate on that in the Tribe Discord. And oftentimes people say, well, get one of the cards, have it be Wonder, right? So, all right, you give me the Wonder, cool, I'll pitch it a Dog or Tribe. Yeah. I personally am at 4 Quiet Spec in my deck if I had to register it. I don't know. It on 2 can get you out of so many jams. that I think it's worth it to go for.
So I think people are underselling the second deep analysis. I think that card is really important.
Snaps to Brian for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you want to go more. Maybe you can, and if you really want to over sideboard for some control matchups, but I think the second one in the 75 is for these O-spec decks is a really good idea.
Ian, what's your flashback card that you think people should be playing on? And its numeracy.
I think it's like third and fourth Ray of Revelation.
Ooh, four Ray is fucked up.
At third or fourth Ray, because, and I think the real reason why that's important is because it actually comes down to like the Cataclysm versus Armageddon discussion. I think people are right in that Cataclysm is much more effective against Enchantress than Armageddon is, but you can cover that matchup by including more Rays, and then you get the benefits that Cataclysm doesn't provide that Armageddon does.
Yeah.
For instance, Armageddon is much better against something like Sly, where you really want to like leave them with nothing. No lands, just, last card that you're effectively going to cast against them is, Armageddon plus Terravor, let's go. I think, as far as Cataclysm's best use scenarios, it's the go wide strategies, right? You're trying to catch the go wide creature decks, the go wide enchantment deck, and if it ever existed, a go wide artifact deck. So I think the creature decks are pretty well covered with your Volcanic Spray plus Oath package. I've yet to hear people be like, yeah, I really couldn't get the Elves or Goblins matchup unless I had cast Cataclysm kind of thing. So if enchantments are the problem, if the go wide enchantment decks are the problem, just pack more Rays. You'll cover it just as well.
Imagine.
So vibe check. I played a recent match against Tribe, and I played another match against a mirror with an Oath spec mirror. Vibe check to remove all the Sylvan libraries and all the Oath of Druids for what is going to be a load of Ray of Revelations coming in, plus Quiet Speculations to go get them. Good idea, bad idea?
So
Vibe check.
That was one of my topics, was a direct comparison with Sylvan Library. Why I wanted to, that was so hang on. All right, so the question is vibe check, yanking your Sylvan Libraries because you're
arguably the best card in the mirror.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
probably is the best card in the mirror.
Sylvan Library? In the mirror? In the Oath spec mirror or Quiet spec mirror?
In any Oath mirror, you get basically 4 cards for free and selection to find your source of plowshares.
I do
probably
that.
The best card.
I do that sometimes with Corned Beef Hash, where I pull out the survivals in the libraries when I anticipate a lot of artifact and enchantment removal, and just go especially if most of my sideboard cards are live, and I figure it would be worth it. I'm hitting stuff like, I don't know, Scavenger Folk and Elder Delirious, then FTK and blah blah blah. But if they all are plausibly live, I've done that many times, and they're like, oh, I was waiting for you to blah blah blah. It's like, no, I wasn't up to it. Go away. Attack for 1. So, Javi, Ian, I'm on team spec.
So the question is, in the Oath spec mirror, to just juke out your Oaths and your Sylvans.
Yeah.
And what are you bringing in instead?
Oh, what am I bringing in? Probably.
I'm with Javi here. Let's see the full picture. It's not just what are you taking out. What are you bringing in?
I think it's Mage's Call, another deep analysis. What was it that I had to? I would think any flex thought would be a meddling mage, which is a little treacherous in the mirror because you have the same cards.
And
so it would be coming in for mages, maybe a reprisal, a null maybe in a list that I had, that sort of thing. So not bangers, definitely not bangers.
I think it's a plan you should have. I don't know if you should do it every time.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I agree.
Yeah, so like if you're, one of the nice little things that makes this like a reasonably effective mid-range or at least a pivotable deck is that you can take out your oaths against non-creature decks and bring in meddling mages and assume sort of like aggro control position. So, when I first ran the deck, I lost to Justin in the finals of the ELD tournament, and I was definitely feeling threat light post-board. And the reason I bring that up is only because, like, I think this deck really needs another supplementary set of threats in the sideboard so that it has, like, a full pivot option. And I don't know if that's, like, 4 Wild Mongrels or 4 Hidden Gibbons or what, but Brian is, like, definitely on the right track where it's like you need the ability to pivot off of Oath, off of, like, maybe Library as well. You need to be able to, show up in that more tribe, Javier Lugo style, aggro control posture. And, it just hasn't been around long enough to be iterated on to a point where that juke is perfected.
All right.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? I like sideboard jukes. I don't know why I'm talking because I don't do well with this deck, but I like sideboard jukes. I think they're fun.
Yeah, I could see it taking out the oaths, keeping the Sylvans in, because with the Sylvans, right, they have like a 1-turn window to get value on the Ray to pop it, and if they don't have it, all right, cool, I'll draw 2. But I do think that's fascinating because getting a 2-for-1 with Ray, just backbreaking.
The what's it called? Heuristic. That's right. The heuristic that me and Brad came up with for like Terravor mid-range offs is that he who libraries wins. So maybe you can just get completely off it, and then just like he who doesn't never did and never was and is gonna win.
Well, the other option is like you find some other weird enchantment and you just overload the rays, right? Like something that also generates value, and you're going to be able to outpace it, and then you will be the last library standing.
Okay, so I have another techie, twitchy sideboard question. Ready? So all the really good, with the exception of Ray, all the really good quiet spec cards are sorceries. And you quiet spec. So the sort of the game 1 part of quiet spec is that you get to tutor for them. And you're like, oh, I got this spray. I'm gonna spray down your elves, or I got these elephants, and they're gonna get in the way of all your X2 goblins. Blah blah blah. And they're all really good except for Ray. Like Deep Analysis is a sorcery, right? Is it?
Correct.
Yeah. What do you think about this? So it is quite common to have the spread of X1 in your main deck, and then you have a second or a third copy in your sideboard. What do you think about this? Ready? 4 quiet spec main, and a Burning Wish main, so you can go get those sweet sorceries, and you can pick your favorite, and then you get both halves of it. What do you guys think about that? Smart, cute, or both?
How many Burning Wishes? How many Burning Wishes?
Enough to do the job.
Sure.
Not a lot of enthusiasm here.
So,
well, what does that get you? That gets
It gets you both halves.
With quiet spec, the best case in Tribe, right? You get an answer, a threat, and card draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get like all those things in one card. You get a 6/6, 2 cards, and you can kill a threat, right? Burning Wish is just you're making one card more expensive, and I mean quiet spec it's as well, but you recoup the cost of the Ray the quiet spec with the Ray if it's live, right? Because a 1 mana removal, you're going to trade up on mana on that. That's a positive exchange for you, even though you spent 2 for the 2 for the quiet spec. But Burning Wish, you're just like, I don't know, the colors are going to be hard, and you only get one of the cards, and the added costs to it. You better make sure you want to have a 6 mana Armageddon. I don't know.
Doesn't sound good.
I've thought about it. I don't think it has legs.
Okay, so you thought
I'm gonna yes you, Brian.
Okay.
Yes, Brian is right, but I think it's to highlight one thing you said. It's you're getting one card and making it more expensive. I think historically wishes do not do that well in more mid-rangey, pivoting, able to assume the beatdown and control roll type of decks. I think like wishes, both Burning Wish, Cunning Wish, I don't Living Wish, whatever. Those types of cards tend to do best in combo decks that don't want to make liberal use of their sideboard space. So what they're able to do is tutor up like a silver bullet to answer an opposing silver bullet. They just have things like Rushing River lined up in the sideboard, ready to answer something that's keeping them from comboing off, because they have a very compact strategy that they don't want to mess with very much.
Got it. Okay, so wishing for the second half and specking for Thresh. I don't know what I'm talking about, but what I do know what I am talking about with is potty humor. I'm going to ask each of you, and be honest, do you make the deep anal joke? Javier, yes or no?
I don't. I'll just go DA. I don't know.
DA?
It's the lawyer in me, right? Yeah. I mean, I was a DA in another life, so yeah, I just go with that.
Ian, do you make the deep anal joke?
I don't make the joke. If someone else makes the joke, I'll give them the okay, yeah, all right, well, we know what's happening here kind of thing. Sometimes you don't even have to make the joke. Everybody just looks at the card and, you give the wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing. It's just old. It's old hat at this point.
Brian, do you make the deep anal joke?
Maybe I have a little bit of finesse with my potty humor. But, the deep anal, not so funny. The monkey butt love of Octavia Orangutan, that's funny. So
Okay. All right. So I knew we were on the same wavelength, Brian. Okay. Very good. Very good. So we have spoken about Quiet Spec. I'm going to propose a small recess, and we'll get back into this. We're going to call, a 10-minute 10-minute break, something like that. And yeah, I'm Billy. I'm here with Javi Lugo, Ian Adams, Brian Selden, all players who understand Quiet Spec much better than me. And we'll take a little break, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, cool. We are live. We are back. We had a little break. Bladder's empty. Pint glass is full. And we are back. We are covering Quiet Speculation with Javi Lugo, Ian Adams, and Brian Selden. We're on a choppy connection, and my audio settings are all fucked up, and I don't care. Cool. So we have just talked about Quiet Speculation, and I asked the three of you a speculative question, because we are going to quietly speculate. And I asked the three of you a speculative question ahead of this podcast episode. It is long-form answer about a potential future, a potential world we could all exist in, what the world could look like. So, Javi, I asked you a speculative question. Here we go. I'm going to pose the question, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say. The year is 2030. America is cast in darkness. Left is right, up is down, and Duress Crew has disbanded. And mentioning them gets you banned from the main PM Discord. What outrageous and salacious betrayal or violation of ethics occurred? Javi, please speculate.
So we have to go back first to 2027. As this year begins, Duress Crew is on fire, and they are now a worldwide sensation. Hardcast has become the #1 pre-modern podcast amidst the proliferation of pre-modern podcasts. Jay's streaming setup has gone worldwide, has become the premier watch. Other tournaments are paying good money to bring Jay in. Nick is on the cover of Vanity Fair, and Duress jumpsuits are the new fashion icon trend. Brad's vegan Caesar dressing can't stay on the shelf. Negotiations have begun with Trader Joe's to stock it. And the Duress Crew are now in the works to create their own strain of cannabis. We'll call it Duress Easy. Everything is bright and dandy. All they needed was a burst of capital to really make all of these projects pop off.
Oh, God.
Then out of nowhere, they receive an anonymous offer in a proposed contract. Duress is told that they'll receive $5 million so long as the anonymous buyer gets a future cut of the profits. And they're thinking it'll be a nice payday along with a more than generous donation to the Worcester Food Bank. Well, the lawyer that they had review the contract had been under the influence of Duress Easy and completely missed the contract. The fine print that said the anonymous investor retains 51% control of the Duress Crew, and therefore is a majority owner and sole executive on the board of Duresters. So in 2030, after waiting, hiding undercover, the anonymous investors make their move. First, they cash out and drain all of the finances from the Duress Bank. Then they take all of the jumpsuits, the weed, the salad dressing, video cameras, liquidates all of them. No. And with all the money they've made, the investor maneuvers a series of bribes and coordinated a hostile takeover of the Discord mod seats in anticipation of this moment, so that any mention of Duress Crew is a bannable offense. It's a bannable offense now because all of the Duress Crew IP is now the IP of shared discovery. Gabe, Travis, and Steve were the anonymous investors, and they executed their long-term plan to implode the Duress Crew from within. And now Shared Discovery is no longer just a top 35 pre-modern podcast. They've become number one.
That is an excellent speculation. That is, oh man, no notes. That is phenomenal. Wow,
read the fine print.
Always read the fine print.
You got to hire a good lawyer, guys. I mean, we have this trademark battle, this copyright, marketing infringement, stuff coming up. Hire a good lawyer.
Hire a good lawyer. Yeah, Duress Crew is working on a new IP package, a new brand package, and I'll tell you what, getting consensus on the new gang logo, it's a lot of work. And then giving that feedback to the artists we commissioned. We're trying to de-trademark all our shit, so that we can. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's really hard. Wow. Okay. So Duress Crew has been subject to a hostile takeover. The PM scene is disgusted because we sold out without knowing it. Oh man, and you're just and Jay becomes the unknowing serf to Shared Discovery.
To Gabe, Travis, and Steve. Yep. All because of the Duress Easy. I hope this doesn't happen. Let's be clear, right? I hope we make it to 2030 all in one piece.
That's just it's such a grim future. So threatening all that we've worked hard for, $5 million just sold out. Everybody always knew we would sell out. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. That is a grim future. All right, Brian. Mr. Selden, I have a speculative question for you. The year is 2030. America is cast in darkness. Left is right, up is down, and Parallax Tide has just been banned from pre-modern. And Billy Mills Curran stares vacantly into the distance, wondering if it was all worth it. My speculative question for you is, what outrageous and salacious toll did Billy Mills Curran have to pay?
So speaking of fine print, I didn't even read the prompt. I misread the prompt. So,
hang on. What is the question you intended to answer?
That Tide was just banned, and
okay.
Then you're in 2030, and you're wondering if it was worth it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Answer that question. That's a question I meant to ask you.
So Tide has been banned, and America's cast in darkness. All right. So. LobsterCon 2026. 12 wins with Tide in the sideboard. Mono Blue Tide controls, puts 2 in the top 8. Martin decides enough is enough, bans Tide in 12-12. Billy celebrates and takes a worldwide victory tour. After the ban, mid-range decks enter the tournament scene. However, Enchantress and Oath of Druids decks prove to be too powerful in the new metagame, and after Oath wins 2027 LobsterCon, Martin bans Opalescence and Oath of Druids to take down the power level. Now, it is truly a mid-range world, and everyone is happy. For now. LobsterCon 2028, has a diverse metagame. But going into LobsterCon 2029, it's becoming clear that the best engine in pre-modern is now survival of the fittest. Elves dominates, puts 3 in the top 8. 2 other survival decks make it to the top 8 as well. Pre-modern is backed into a corner, is forced to ban survival of the fittest. Billy is distraught, can't get out of bed. He misses the next 2 duress regionals and watches as pre-modern tournament attendance plummets. He wonders about the Tide banning in 2026 and whether he's responsible for the looming death of a once beloved format of pre-modern.
Killing all of pre-modern would be quite the toll to pay.
Quite the toll.
Just being singularly responsible. Oh my goodness. Oh, that would be a rough toll. I played Legacy last night for the first time in like a long time. I play Storm. And I got Chalice, and I was like, why did I play this deck for 10 years?
Yeah,
like,
you do this for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That is dark toll to pay. It would be worth it. It would if I would ban. Oh yeah. I would ban.
You know,
I would ban pre-modern if I could ban Tide.
Yeah. I mean, I'm joking.
You'll take the legions of clever boy haters.
Yeah.
Joking aside, I think a lot of us know the meme of Dr. Burns, Mr. Burns is, has every disease, and they all kind of keep themselves in balance and keep them alive. That meme of all those diseases trying to fit through that door. I think pre-modern is pretty darn close to that, where there are so many power outliers in the format, like Gaia's Cradle, Oath of Druids, Phyrexian Dreadnought, like nothing in the tribe deck, unfortunately, Javier.
Yeah.
There's not one power outlier in that deck, but most other pre-modern decks do have Goblin Lackey. There's so many cards that are just such huge power outliers in the format that if you start to take one down, I do think there's a pretty decent chance of like a cascade of things. So that was what that was about.
I was looking at the Duress Crew data project, and I found that there were really only there's lots of decks that all lean on like one pillar, like Goblin Lackey or what have you. But in my deep dive, and it was entirely biased. It was really just looking for evidence to ban Tide. No journalistic or scientific integrity whatsoever. I found that I think really only Tide, Survival, and Mox Diamond are like separate from each other and holding up multiple archetypes that are like bullshit strong archetypes. Like Lackey's really just holding up like one archetype, but like Mox Diamond has like the Oath and the Terragon, and then Tide is holding up like Replenish, Dreadnought, Mono Blue Tide, and Survival's holding up like pick a color or no extra color. And that's holding up like a bullshit. So it's like I think those are really the how do I say this? The format pillars. And Mox Diamond would be at Survival like so fucking fast if they weren't on like opposite sides of the deck restriction spectrum, which is why Corned Beef Hash is not that good. Cool. Hate to say it, but it's true. All right, moving on. That was an excellent story. A good speculation, if you will. All right, Ian, you're last. And I pose a speculative question for you. The question is, the year is 2030. America is cast in darkness. Left is right, up is down. WotC has achieved dominant monopoly over pre-modern, which is now Magic's most popular format, above even EDH. All the PM graybeards have left. What outrageous and salacious power grab occurred, Ian?
So I think my speculation or the story that I'm about to tell isn't quite as Orwellian as Javi's or Brian's, but I think the moral of this is that nobody self-identifies as the villain. So what got my brain kind of spinning on this question was Jay mentioned during the State of the Krunian that the name of like the Fetchland thing that you guys are going to try is Pre-Modern Plus. And that got me thinking about a similar game that I've played for many, many years to Magic, which is World of Warcraft, which has gone through a classic cycle. So for a little bit of background here, I forget who it was who was talking with some WotC employee about pre-modern, but the WotC employee said, yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get involved in something like that. I don't think there's any money to be made. And I think it's important to remember that, WotC and Hasbro being somewhat beholden to their shareholders has that as their guiding principle. We need to make money for the shareholders. But to say that there's no money in the pre-modern space is lacking creativity. I think it's well within the realm of speculation to say that WotC, which has to fill out a increasing product stack that they're trying to release year over year, and has long been looking for a way to release a cube-style product, or at least a cube-style starter kit, in a way that gives some value. I think, doing a co-release of, sort of classic pre-modern cards, but then branding it as a pre-modern plus that introduces cards with a similar design philosophy into this sort of sealed universe, and saying, go forth, play pre-modern plus. They also have the support architecture of online play. Imagine they make pre-modern plus playable on Arena, and your highly competitive grinders can go in and play that day over day, night over night, really perfect their strategies. And because it's this totally separate entity, WotC has the capacity to do things like errata cards and really push their digital sphere, their digital environment, which is just like printing money. There's no supply chain, there's nothing. Just get the code up, and we can continue to iterate on pre-modern plus. What that does is it detracts from in-person play. And a lot of the graybeards of pre-modern, use this as a social outlet. It's, a way that we all get together, hang out, talk about our lives in sort of this freewheeling, psychologically safe, environment where we can think on hard problems and fail together. And that's when you increase. And this happened with the standard format. I remember, not all that long ago, 2014, and before that, 2009 to 2014, I was grinding standard all the time in person, regularly 30, 40 people at weeknight tournaments. And that went away pretty quickly when Arena came around and there were easier and easier ways to play online. So be careful, what you wish for, because you just might get it.
I don't know. I have historically been kind of hardline. It seems like kind of like punk and cool to be like, fuck WotC, no way. But I actually am, instead of being 100% against it, I actually am just like 99% against it. Like, I think there exists an alternate universe where a lot has changed. A lot has changed, where it could be acknowledged without being fucked up. And it could be acknowledged without ruining everything for everybody. I don't believe it's true. But I think that could, I don't know. I'm certain I'm going to get flamed on. I shouldn't have said anything. Yeah.
It's an important reminder to nothing is forever. Maybe pre-modern does get solved, maybe it doesn't,
Yeah.
Or maybe it just gets stale for people. But, the friends you're making in pre-modern, go ahead and diversify those friendship activities. Like, go to the Ren Fair together, learn Mahjong, have some other things so that your friendships aren't, entirely built on a foundation of pre-modern, because you never know. It's good for now, and I hope it stays good, but life things happen.
Yeah. There will come an end. It reminds me a lot of like Legacy in 2012 or 13, when randos could still show up with gifts ungiven, and be like, oh dude, hell yeah. But then I don't know, it just, after Innistrad and Delver Up Secrets and just everything changed. People stopped playing Mongoose and I don't know, Loxodon Hierarch and all that stuff. Yeah, it'll come to an end, but I hope not for a very long time. And I I don't
I
know.
think we're clearly still on the upswing. What
Oh,
Cardboard
yeah.
Crack? But they had that
Yeah.
the comic that was posted. This is perfect.
It's so funny because
Brian's like, you can't see him on camera, but he's clutching his security blanket right now. It's like, no, it can't be.
well, it's funny. So on the Cardboard Crack, right? It's that person saying, "Yeah, Pre-Modern's great. You can play Winter Orb, Stasis,
Yeah.
Wasteland, Armageddon." And I was reading that, and I was like, "Yeah, you can play all those cards. It's great." And then at the end, I'm like, "Oh yeah, those cards, whatever, like salty or not fun." But I mean, I don't know. We're in a good. It's up to us, right? It's up to us to do our part to try and keep this thing in the right direction, and just do my part.
I had to take like a break, probably like a 6-week break over the summer where I was like burnt out on Terrageddon, and I was rude at my local, which was like a really bad look and like super embarrassing, honestly. And it took me, I had to take a break, and I came back and I played like an ass deck on purpose to just like remind myself I can have fun without trying to win. And I think there is a behavioral standard that is on all of us to maintain. There's a huge degree of interpersonal trust and like a social standard. If y'all remember, maybe a year and a half ago when there was that like State of the Format podcast episode where some of the Graybirds were like, y'all are fucking up. Like, this is not what we envisioned. Y'all can do better. It was in response to that Dress Crew started doing a charity raffle at our tournaments, because it's like, wait, we have like a minimum. If it's not going to be a charity tournament, then at least needs to have like some positive benefit. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're blessed to have a healthy degree of social enforcement and a social standard. I hope that gets maintained forever. So, anyways,
Hear you.
Hear ye. I do have one last question before we. Let's see here. I'm going to scan my sheet here. All right, I've covered everything that I really wanted to cover. Most of it was bad. So, Javi, can we talk about your move?
I'd love to.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I live in the Boston area.
Yeah.
I'm here in Massachusetts. I grew up in Orlando. I moved to Evansville, Indiana, after school with my wife, her hometown. And over the last few years, I don't know if we have any Lord of the Rings fans or Hobbit fans out there, but the Tookish part of my being started speaking, and basically started calling for some adventure, some spicing it up. We were good. We were happy in Evansville. We were good there. But I think we sort of asked ourselves, like, is this where we want to be forever? And luckily we were in a position, ourselves and our family, that we could actually kind of go on an adventure, right? Go to the Green Dragon Inn and forget our handkerchiefs. And so we narrowed it down to the Northeast. My last 4 years coming to Boston for LobsterCon have been some of the coolest, most spiritual moments coming out of the pandemic, finding a group of people that, I don't know, I say it's like a family reunion, except with family you really like. And so the Boston area kind of spoke to me. It spoke to our values, we think. And so we ultimately decided to go for it. And have I touched a pre-modern card in the or deck or match in the last several months? No. It'll be nice maybe to get out there and play some in-person pre-modern. I'm going to miss Evansville because we got kind of a little scene going there, but I hope to come back every year for the Evansville Eternal Open, if they'll have me, and to run that back. But we're excited to be here, to be in the Northeast, and just wondering, if our kiddos are going to one day have a little accent. And we'll see.
You've brought up two things there. One is sentimental, and the other one is silly. I'll ask the sentimental one first. So this is both to Ian and Brian, and I'm gonna Javier, you brought this up. So post COVID, I had like a major social life disruption and direct through it. And one of the reasons why it's so special to me is that it was like this was like the first like I've been in like sort of like cliques, like I had like a MySpace top eight where we were all like each other's top eights. And I like had friends in the Navy that we all like palled around together. Did you two have like the same experience of just like it all collapsed and then it like all like recongealed into like a new, better, stronger molecule? Because I'm feeling like I treat this like new clique with like just so much more preciously because I like everybody lost everything, and then like what congealed was this like maturity and this appreciation for like, hey, like we can have this back and it can be lost again, so like treat it right because we can all just do better. Did Brian and Ian, did you two also have a similar experience?
You want me to go? So I'm fortunate enough to, we have a crazy house. So I have a 12, a 10, and a 4-year-old. So during COVID, it was, survival mode, but it was like very focused on our regular family.
Brian, we know you won with survival. Very good.
Wicked
Yeah,
fun, Brian.
Yeah, right. Not even trying. I'm not even trying. And we had a couple of other families that we kind of potted with and survived COVID, and I don't know, played on the webcam tournaments, starting then, and it's kind of grown for me there. It's really, other than a couple of the dress opens that I can get to, I don't really have an outlet to play Magic outside of these monthlies. So, I've tried. I need to try better to try to get the gathering back in my life. I know I'm happier as a person and with my life when I'm playing a lot more Magic in person with people, and I just need to do it more.
Ian, how about you? Muggles or magicians? Did you have a similar experience?
I think, I was in law school during COVID, so that was sort of my primary focus. Suddenly I had a lot more time on my hands to, study and all, so that part worked out nicely. But in terms of the friendships I had, we worked very hard collectively to maintain contact and, maintain online activities or whatever, meet up in somebody's yard and, have beers on lawn chairs. I mean, I've been with this group of friends roughly, like many New Englanders, since practically kindergarten. It's kind of refreshing in a way, Javi, to have you say that like you feel very warmly welcomed, because one of the negative stereotypes about New Englanders is we're very cold at first. When you're in, but it can be difficult to get in. And the fact that pre-modern has been an outlet for not just you but your entire family to feel comfortable coming over from a different part of the country and fitting right in, that's wicked hot, woman. But yeah, as far as my friendships go, I mean, pre-modern has brought me out of my shell in a little way. I mean, I feel like I'm a reasonably charming and amicable guy that has no enemies, a capybara and a hot spring vibe. But
No objection.
but I'm still a bit of an introvert. It's not always like my favorite thing to go out and be around a bunch of strangers. But that's never really been the vibe at any of these tournaments. It's just a bunch of people who are, loosely connected, but connected nonetheless, and the vibes are consistently immaculate and a great place. If you are someone who finds challenges in being socially affable, or you struggle with social anxiety, this is as great of a place as any to have a little bit of psychological safety and put yourself out there, because I think people are very socially generous and kind and will take things for the most part as they were intended, not necessarily how they were perfectly executed, even in the online spaces, which is unusual in an era of rage bait.
That's a good point. That's like, this is you it's okay to be chill. It's okay to be chill here, and it's like we welcome all types. So that was my sentimental question. Thank you for everybody, for honoring the question where the spirit was offered. Javi, my second follow up question. It's sillier. So you have moved to New England from Indiana, and you were on a Magic team there, and you may still be. However, do you consider yourself, an unsigned free agent? Are you looking at any new teams? So you got the Tree Folk, you have the Zoo Crew, you have Duress Crew, though where we may be more discriminating than you may be used to, or are you establishing Jose Magic de Norte Este Battalion? Oh, he's flashing his Jose Magic. Okay.
Ready to go.
Okay, so
Ready to
so
go.
so you have a northeast wing now.
So I would say, I think Webway games maybe every other Sunday.
Yep.
I want to go and it's like I think 30 minutes for me. I think it's my closest meetup, and so I'm hoping to go and meet those guys, the Zoo Crew, the Tree Folk. I've met Patrick, Sheldon. I now have met Ian. They look
Very handsome.
nice, kind. Very handsome, very competent, very decent crew, and then the Duress crew. I mean, I don't need to say anything about, how great they are. So I would say I am I'm a Jose Magic lifer. I mean, that's going to be the swag I'm going to wear, but I certainly don't mind. I certainly would love to hang out with the rest of the crews.
Excellent. Ian, that's just another signal that the Tree Folk need a home base. Like
we do. We've sort of lapsed over the summer, like many people do, just through life commitments and all. But an update from, I guess, when I was on in March, we are actively looking at some potential third place home bases that aren't just, someone's house, to schedule more regular meetups. Though I will say, especially up here, it's a little challenging. You don't want to overschedule like conflicting meetups or tournaments. Like, we don't want to displace people who are going to ELD or to Webway or one of these other places. So it takes a fair amount of strategizing these days to come up with a good meetup time and location.
hobby in my house either. Okay, so moving on. All right, so moving on to shout outs. This has been Hardcast number, I don't know, 23, something like that. I don't care. Who cares? And I have some shout outs here, but I'm going to offer the floor to y'all. Brian, do you have any shout outs for our fair listeners?
Yeah, shout out to the Duress crew. They give me an outlet that I get to go to every quarter to their tournaments. It kind of scratches that competitive itch, and you guys put on a really great tournament. And shout out to Andrew, who runs the Pre-Modern Monthly. Like, without those two outlets, I wouldn't be playing Magic very much at all. So those are my outlets, and I owe a lot to you guys.
Ian, do you have anything you would like to shout out? You can also puff things that are coming up if you'd like to.
We don't have anything on the calendar at this moment, but shout out to Brad Stone. I miss you, buddy. Wish you were here. Shout out to the Redline Tree Folk, as always, my crew of choice. And shout out to you guys for inviting me on this pod. I feel like I don't have the quite records that you guys do, but you let me come in and yap anyway.
Ian, you're not yapping. My girlfriend says you have dulcet tones.
Oh, and I'm Mr. Steal Your Girl, I guess.
Yeah, right.
And you're still inviting me on.
I know, right? I'm not threatened. Javi, any shout-outs?
Yeah, my Jose Magic crew, the Tribe, who have been with me along these last almost 2 years of running Tribe. I mean, their ideas are what's helping me win, some matches. And so shout out to them. All the Evansville folks, we hope to run the EEO 2026 next year. Louisville, Nashville, all those people in that region. I hope to do it again. And then shout out to the rest crew, the state of the Croonian. It showed how much thought, how much time, how much effort it takes to run this stuff. And putting yourself in the arena can be stressful. And kudos to you guys for keeping that thing going.
Thanks. I do almost nothing to push it along. But let me see here. If we asked. This is I have some shout outs. But I would like to hear what you guys maybe this will spur a conversation. So LobsterCon 2026, it's in the tank at so I'm bringing this up because we're trying to encourage an active community discussion. LobsterCon 2026 is going to be at the Dante. Would you guys want, the three of y'all, would you guys want like a separate North American PM champs at like, I don't know, Fenway Park, if it can hold us, what have you, or is like the Dante what LobsterCon means to you? Like what's valuable about this? Like what do you think should we do? Keep like don't change a damn thing and just like if you get in, you get in, luck of the draw, or is it like go big or go home? Like what do you three think?
I'm personally really torn. Like I love the Dante. I love the location. I don't think LobsterCon can go outside of the Boston area, but getting a ballroom somewhere also doesn't feel very good. But also excluding people that want to come also doesn't feel very good. So it's like we're stuck, in this. The growth of pre-modern has been such that we're stuck with the popularity and the venue not being able to hold everybody.
Yeah.
So I see both sides of it. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Dante. So I'm torn. I don't have a great opinion one way or the other.
I'll go ahead. So the thing that comes to mind is that more isn't always more. If the goal is to get more people, more numbers, more seats, that's not always, in my opinion, what's best for our community is this format. I find that there is something special about the Dante. There's a lot of notice given to the time, the date of registration. I mean, you guys do the best you can to provide notice and all that. One of the things that I experienced running a tournament in Evansville, and I tried to bring that LobsterCon vibe to a lot of these areas, a lot of these people that they aren't making the trip. I think it'd be fascinating to see how we can maybe come up with some more events around the country that are organically done that can give people access to that feeling, right? It's the stuff that the Peach Ball that Shared Discovery is doing. It's the stuff up in Misty, and so to the extent that it's on to Rest Crew that you guys have to have the burden to make this big call, I find that just to be so unfair to you guys. But maybe the question is how can we find ways to promote other organic events that are accessible, that are meaningful, that are interesting, that provide all of the same goals, and provide resources and information to people around the country to do that elsewhere. Maybe that's just something to think about.
Heavy lies the crown. Yeah, I think that's a very good perspective, and I would love to see. It'd be cool if it I don't know, rotated or something like that. Just spitballing. This isn't a leak or anything, but seeing a challenger has appeared, and Misty's running consistently a 200 person event, and it's wait a second, there's no reason why it couldn't be in the Midwest, or what have you. Ian, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I fall kind of somewhere in the middle here, where LobsterCon just has to continue in its current fashion. I think it's a really special event, and it is unfortunate that there is kind of a hard cap on the number of people that can fit in there, and year over year, more and more people want to attend. So it may be necessary, out of fairness, rather than have a race to register at some point, there is some kind of ticket lottery system that benefits charity or something like that at some point, just to handle fairness and logistics. I'm into the idea, if we are going to expand the North American Pre-Modern Championship, that it should be part of, it shouldn't be its own thing, but part of like a larger festival type environment where you have things like CubeCon that put that on, Team Up, and I've had plenty of fun Magic debauchery in the DCU Center in Worcester, for instance. And if you can fill out a couple of those sort of exhibition hall type things with not just one format or one identity, but rather a whole sort of, I would use the word community, like a Magic community where it's not coming from top down from WotC, but rather bottom up, and giving opportunities to a bunch of different groups and a bunch of different formats. I think that would be something special in its own right.
What the Treefolk did with the Thursday night surprise tournament at Pandemonium was incredibly useful. I was so thankful that you provided like a structured meetup for everybody. It was well attended. I hope that Pandemonium was happy with us, although we stayed late. That was a lot of social value added. So I think it'd be cool if there was like a big main event, but also like, I don't know, different groups booked, like, hey, at movies that we're cubing on Friday, or I don't know, who knows what. But yeah, having it spread to like old school AAA, who cares? That'd be neat.
Yeah, I just want to also take a moment to advocate for the Duress crew themselves. I mean, you guys have risen to the logistical challenges of ever increasing popularity. But at some point, you guys kind of want to enjoy the fruits of your labor too, right? Like, you built this scene. Like, at some point, you don't want to be the only ones saddled with number crunching and sign-ups and logistics. And I mean, some of these things are obviously labors of love, like this podcast. But there are a lot of things that go into this cook, and some more cooks in the kitchen as we put on a bigger buffet is probably needed.
It is hard. We have a lot of pans on the skillet, to abuse the analogy, and we've definitely been cracking eggs. But it's tough. I appreciate all the kind words. This leads me into my shout out. Today, I am recording this podcast with these smarter and better at Magic than me guests on September 3rd. I'm going to release it for September 11th. And that means on 2 days later, you can watch Old School on Twitch TV, Duress Crew. That's what you can do. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Go watch Jay work his streaming magic. Yeah, September 12th and 13th. You can watch Jay be absolutely phenomenal. He built so much of that stuff from scratch. He is a phenomenal streamer. So Duress Crew will be streaming Old School, the Old School LobsterCon. And what else is going on? We just spoke about, the future of pre-modern North American Championships in 2027 and beyond. You can watch the previous episode of Hardcast for State of the Creamian. And you can, I'm going to put this feedback form. So I just solicited the advice of these three gentlemen for what they thought the future could look like. And we want to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to put a little Google form in the show notes, and you can fill it out, and your voice can be heard. Okay. I think that's it for this episode. I don't have a silly last question prepared. So I think that's it. I think that's the end of the episode.
Well, Billy, one more thing, really
yes,
fast.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Hit me. Yes.
Can I ask a quick question to the next guest? Or is that tradition still going on? Or
Yes. We dropped it, but actually, because you brought it up, we're going to recontinue it.
Okay. It's a very simple one.
Okay.
Okay, because I was thinking about this myself. Okay, future guest on Hardcast. When you draw, how do you draw your opening seven?
Okay.
Do you just go one by one off the top? Do you count to seven and smack it against the playmat? Do you go 4 into 3 Do you scoop it all at the same time? Do you look at like 4 and then you wonder, okay, what do the next 3 hold? I'm just curious. Next guest, how do you crack that opening 7?
The physical mechanics of drawing 7 cards. That is a great question,
Yep.
and I'm really glad of you. I'm really thankful and glad that you asked that. Yeah, that's it. That's Hardcast episode 22. I'm Billy Mills Curran. I have had Javi Lugo, Ian Adams, and Brian Selden here on the show, talking over each other with a bad connection and bad sound settings. And as a parting word, everybody say, sorry, Ben. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Ben.
Sorry, Ben.